What is up, guys? Welcome back to Savage Rounds with Xavier. Today, Season 7 of Dana White's Contender Series started. All the guys in green are the winners. I forgot to put a circle around Almeida. Almeida obviously won, and all the guys with the little contract at the bottom of their picture are the guys that got contracts. So this time, all the winners got contracts, including Almeida. I don't know why I forgot to put his circle, but he did also win. Borjas versus Diaz. I'll just go through them. I'll talk about them each a bit. Talk about if I agree or disagree with the contracts, what I would have done. And then I've made some matchups for each of them. I didn't have any videos for last season of Contender Series, so this is the first time we're doing this. And yeah, I just thought it would be fun to do something for Contender Series. But kicking it off, we had Diaz versus Borjas. I picked Diaz to win this fight, or at least I thought he was going to win this fight. He came out, obviously, he was going to grapple. A lot of people had a bit of money on him by early sub, first round sub. A lot of people played the under 1.5. And Borjas was just able to stay out of danger when Diaz was taking him down, because he had him down a couple times throughout the fight, maybe like 3. And in the first round, he had him down for quite a bit of time, but he wasn't able really to do much damage. He didn't get any submission threat going, which is obviously where, if he was going to win this fight, it was going to happen. The grappling, the jiu-jitsu, that's what he's good at. He's got big power in the hands, but he's not really a striker. Borjas, on the other hand, as the fight went on, Diaz got tired, and his takedown defense started to get better and better. Obviously, it helped that Diaz was tired, but that helped. And Borjas is a great striker. He's really slick. He's got a lot of pop in his shots. He's really, I think I said quick already. Throws great combinations, and he was just able to land big shots and avoid the big winging hooks of Diaz. And yeah, he won big minutes on the feet, was doing big damage on the feet, and was able to get the decision. He got the contract. I think that's fine. 125 isn't too deep, so they could use some guys, and he did look pretty good against a guy who is as good on the ground as Diaz. Being able to stay out of danger in those spots was really good. Next up, Peyton Talbot versus Reyes Cortez Jr. Cortez Jr. is Tracy Cortez's brother. This is his second time on Contender Series. He lost the first time to Christian Rodriguez in a war, one where he took quite a bit of damage. This fight was another one where he took quite a bit of damage. Talbot, man, is he slick. He reminds me of O'Malley so much, not just his build and his hair, but he's got a lot of the same like actions and mannerisms. The way he throws the right hand, it looks super O'Malley-esque. The way he'll like drop his hands completely and walk forward. There's just a lot of things he does that remind me of O'Malley. Obviously, he doesn't strike quite the same. I'd say maybe O'Malley's a little bit quicker. And I don't know. I think, and Talbot's still a bit green. He's 24 years old. He kind of hangs out too long sometimes. Like he's super long, so he'll kind of throw that right hand, and it'll kind of hang for a bit in that area. There's things he can work on. He's very hittable. His head movement is good at times. It's like when he's in the pocket, he can have really good head movement, but at distance, he's pretty hittable, it seems. And I mean, sometimes his head movement, I don't know, when he uses it, it can be good. Sometimes it's not good. It's really odd. His takedown defense was spectacular versus Cortez. He got taken down a couple times. He was able to pop up immediately. Cortez had basically no time on the ground against Talbot. Talbot ate big shots, like I said. He can be hittable at times, and through all his Uriah Faber A1 combat fights, he's taken some big shots. He's been able to walk through them just like he did in the first round versus Cortez. And then in the second round, you could tell he really started to flow. He got in the zone, and he was slinging. It was really sick. He's really slick when he gets going. 24 years old, bright future for him. He got a contract, obviously. He's one I'm excited to see. He's green, like I said, but he will continue to get better, and the base he has right now is very, very good. Next up, Kyle Machado versus, I think his name was Kevin as well, Kevin Zaflarski. This was the worst fight in Dana White Contender Series history. The amount of tweets about it while it was happening was crazy. Zaflarsky literally threw no punches. It was ridiculous. He would go for takedowns, he'd get stuffed, and then a few times he ended up pushing Machado up against the cage, but Machado would get out of it without taking any damage, because even in the clinch, when he had him up against the cage, Zaflarsky was doing literally nothing. The whole time, Machado was winging big hooks, connecting to the guard of Zaflarsky, and late in round 2 and in round 3, he was able to land a few good ones, connect a few good ones, but early in the fight and halfway through the second round, really nothing, just off his guard. Machado obviously won because Zaflarsky literally did nothing offensively, but it wasn't really impressive from Machado either. The weight class just needs guys, and he won. Dana White's excuse was he beat an 11-1 guy. He's won 11 fights in a row, so I had to give him a contract since he won. I don't know. He didn't look great. If he needs bodies, it is what it is, but whatever. It didn't look great. Then next up, possibly the fight of the night, the fight people were the most hyped about, Tom Nolan versus Bogdan Grad. Bogdan's known to be this cocky little bulldog striker with some like crazy wheel kicks and stuff. He's got really, really crazy slick jiu-jitsu as well. Okay wrestling, nothing crazy. And then Tom Nolan, 6'3" at 155 pounds, super long, rangy, and hits like a truck. It's like I'm telling you. I said it in the what's it called? In the matchups video for UFC Nashville. These long, taller guys for their weight class, the lanky, rangy guys, they've got some weird sort of pop at the end of their shots. And it's like those big jacked guys. They're just faster and longer, so it feels more dangerous almost. But yeah, crazy power. Nolan was able to pretty quickly tag Grad, drop him early. There was a little bit of time spent on the ground. Nothing really happened. They get back up, and Nolan lands this crazy hook, puts him out cold. As he hits the ground, Nolan drops another ground and pound shot on him. His mouth guard flies out of his mouth. Bogdan Grad is out cold still. A great win from Tom Nolan. He's a real prospect to look for. He's got... he can be taken down, but he's not easy to hold down, and obviously the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling is going to get better. He's a young guy too, but man, the striking is wild. He's like a car crash. He's going to be really, really fun to watch, and I'm excited to see his debut. Next up, Cesar Almeida, Lucas Fernando. Cesar Almeida, he's a kickboxer with 50-some fights. He fought Alex Pereira in a trilogy, beating him once. He didn't get knocked out in either of the fights he lost. They all three went to decision. And coming into this, he was 3-0 in MMA, all 3 knockouts, versus a guy who's been an MMA fighter for quite some time now. He was 9-1 going into this one. Has submissions, a decent grappler, and his bread and butter is on the feet. But obviously, going into this fight, he came out and went for takedowns immediately. And to everyone's surprise, the commentators, everyone on Twitter watching me, Almeida, his takedown defense was very solid. He got taken down once or twice, and he even swept Fernando at one point. He did well on top at one point. I don't know, it was kind of crazy to see coming from a kickboxer who was 3-0 in MMA with 3 knockouts. So obviously he's been working that. He trains at Extreme Couture, so obviously that's something he's been working. But he's 35 years old. I'll talk about it a little more in the matchups. Dana White obviously isn't going to make him climb all the way up, but he won't get maybe the sort of path Pereira got. Maybe it won't be 3 fights or whatever, but I don't think he'll have to fight this long ladder up just because he's an older guy and he's such a veteran kickboxer who's elite. But yeah, Almeida's surprising on the ground, landed some strikes as well. It wasn't anything crazy on the feet, but did what he needed to do, got the win. And all the winners tonight got contracts, like I said. I was surprised Machado got one. And Borjas, Talbot, and Nolan Grad felt like they were pretty easy yeses. Obviously, all three guys still a bit green, but good prospects. And Almeida was a toss-up just because he was old, but because of the kickboxing background, Dana ended up giving him the contract. Now for the debut matchups. There's the green circle. Kevin Borjas first. I think he should fight another guy who will definitely battle him on the feet a bit more, give him a bigger challenge on the feet, but also can work in the wrestling. It's not really his main, what he goes to, but decent and for sure a solid striker. He made his debut very, very recently, losing to Jafel Filo, who was tough, almost finished Makayev with a knee bar. Daniel Barres, it was a great early first round for him against Jafel Filo. He looked like he was going to get Filo out of there really early. But as soon as Filo got him to the ground, it was like a hot knife through butter for Filo. Obviously, Borjas isn't going to go out there and shoot takedowns on Barres, so I think this would be a fun striking matchup for two prospects, two guys looking to build their name, and a really fun fight for sure. Next up, Peyton Talbot. Like I said, he's a bit green. Him and Tom Nolan, younger guys. Even Kevin Borjas, a bit younger. Not younger than these guys, just younger in general. I think Talbot's 24, and then Tom Nolan and Borjas are around 25, 26. So Talbot pretty green. He'll fight somebody at the bottom of the rankings. They're not gonna rush him. A1 Combat had him, and he was the champion over there, doing really well. Like I said, no reason to rush him. He'll fight some guys that he should be able to beat. And if he's getting better, he's the prospect that he has shown he can be. If he keeps improving, he'll beat these guys and build up a nice little record, and then he'll start to get tougher fights. But somebody who won on Contender Series and hasn't looked great in the UFC so far, he's 0-2 so far. Just got finished by Daniel Marcos, another guy debuting off Contender Series. His debut fight with Simon Oliveira, was able to finish him with body shots, some clean striking. If Oliveira can get you to the ground, he's pretty dangerous, and his Muay Thai is pretty solid, nothing crazy. But Talbot should be able to beat a guy like this. He's a great striker. His takedown defense has proven to be pretty good. So I think this would be a good fight to ease him into the UFC and really see how he does versus guys that are in the UFC. See how he does under the lights versus the first time. He's 5-0 or 6-0 now. No reason to rush him. Give him Simon Oliveira first. Next up, Caio Machado. Wasn't very impressed, but he got the win, got the contract. And the heavyweight division, it's, like I said, the heavyweight and the light heavyweight division, not very deep. So there's a lot of just guys that aren't great. He'll fight somebody in that. All the heavyweights right now, even at the bottom, seem to be matched up. So a fight coming up pretty soon. Justin Tafa versus Austin Lane. They fought not too long ago, but it ended in the first round after an eye poke, so it was a no contest. They're rematching in September. I think for his debut, Caio Machado should fight the loser. I don't know. There's not much to say. It's big, sloppy heavyweights. None of these guys are too great. But yeah, this should be his debut, the loser of this fight. Next up, co-main event on the Dana White Contender Series card. Tom Nolan getting a very, very brutal knockout KO over Bogdan Grad. Another guy, there's no reason to toss him to the wolves right away. He looks a little bit more maybe like vicious than Peyton Talbot, so maybe that's why people may be tempted to give him someone better right away, but he's young. Same thing. He was 5-0, now 6-0. Please do not rush this guy. Give him someone who made his debut off Contender Series quite recently, Victor Martinez. It's another one. Like, this is a guy Tom Nolan should be able to beat. And same kind of deal as Peyton Talbot. I want him to build these guys. They're really young. These prospects look like they could be really good. It's only week 1 of Contender Series. we've got some solid prospects. Victor Martinez, also a guy looking for his first UFC win off Contender Series. So if he could get the win, I mean, I'd be surprised, but it would be a great spot for him to get a win. But yeah, I'd expect if Tom Nolan got this fight to build on his record, 7-0, to look up. But yeah, no need to rush him. Next up, the main event. Cesar Almeida. I told you about him. He was the kickboxer. He had the trilogy with Pereira, even beat him once. All 3 went to decision. Dana White talked about it a little bit in the press conference and a little bit while he was announcing who got the contracts. He's 35 years old. He's a combat sports veteran. All those fights in kickboxing, he was fighting at an elite level. And it's the age. He doesn't have too many years in the sport left, obviously. So, and with the experience he had, he's not going to have to build this huge UFC resume. I talked about it. He won't get the Alex Pereira treatment, but I think they'll give him somebody, I'd say just below like the middle of the middleweights, and if he's able to win that fight, maybe somebody right outside the top 15 if he's able to win that. Somebody in the 10 to 15. I don't know. Maybe 2 fights after this first one. I don't know. But they can't take too much time with him. He can't take too many fights. And obviously he'd have to keep winning. But Julian Marquez, this would be a good test to see where he's at. A guy who's won in the UFC. A guy who's lost in the UFC. He's well-rounded. I mean, not like elite anywhere. I wouldn't say even great anywhere. He's got big power in his hands. He's a wild striker, and his jiu-jitsu is solid. His jiu-jitsu is okay. So yeah, if this is a fight, if Almeida wants to actually be something like a threat to the top 15 in this division, this is the kind of fight he's got to win in his debut, and I think it would be a good spot. But yeah, we only had 5 fights. All 5 guys got contracts. Those are all the debuts I think they should do. Talked a little bit about each matchup. Go check out, at the same time as this video comes out, I did a UFC Nashville matchmaking video, so go check that one out at the same time. Like both of those videos, subscribe, and then check back Thursday. We're doing UFC Vegas 78, Luque versus Dos Anjos predictions and bets. Like I said, come back Thursday. See you guys then. Peace out.